Hi everyone from my next vlog here from the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. It's a rainy, cold day here in Quartzsite, Arizona. There's a big storm passing through, so not outside. I'm inside shooting in here. So not a lot to show you, not a lot going on. It's the last day that I spoke. I led a class today on boondocking and how to camp for free on public land. And so I don't really have a whole lot to share with you. I thought I'd answer a couple of the questions that came up fairly frequently in the comments. So I thought I'd just give a quick answer to those, if I can do anything quickly. As probably most of you know, I don't do anything very quickly, and I don't do anything in a few words. One of the questions is, well, Bob, it's kind of silly. If you're an introvert, why are you inviting hundreds of people to your camp and hosting them? That just seems like a silly thing to do if you're setting yourself up for problems. And that's a very good point. I don't have an argument. It really goes back to why I created my website, why I created the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous initially. So to understand my thinking, you have to understand why I do everything I do. In 2008, I started my website in 2005. And the reason I started my website in 2005 was because I'd been a stealth camper for 6 years in Anchorage, Alaska. And the seminal event, the genesis of my cheap website, cheaprvliving.com, and the RTR was this. One morning I woke up. It was October in Alaska. October's cold. And so I went up front, cleared the windshields off of the frost. There's always frost on the windshields in October, on the inside and outside. Started the van, let it warm up a bit. I had to drive off. And I looked out, and there was a car next to me. And so I kind of looked out at the car, just out of curiosity. They're parked right beside me, and I'm in the far back of the lot. There's never anybody back there with me. I just look like a box van parked in the middle of a store lot. And I looked at them, and it was full of frost, which told me there was somebody in there breathing. And I looked in, and I could see a woman sitting at the steering wheel. And I could see, and then I looked a little further, and I could just make out 3 little kids. So here was a woman with 3 little kids sleeping in her car, cold enough to be solid frost on her windshield and inside and out. And I just thought, my heart just broke for that woman. What led her to that situation? And what was going on in her heart and mind, thinking about her children and herself? And whatever led her to there, whatever circumstances, probably pretty dire circumstances, she had no hope. She didn't know what she was going to do. And I just could feel in the deep depth of my heart that hopelessness, and the empathy in me just poured out toward this poor woman. And that moment was the seminal moment for everything I've done in Cheap RV Living, the website and YouTube, because that woman, everything I do with that woman in mind. There are people out there who need to hear the message I have. And that was proved to me tremendously in 2008 when the economy crashed. My website was in place. I started it in 2005 to answer all the questions, to help people, to inspire people to embrace the mobile life and to teach them how. So if they're forced into a car, they could do it well and happily and not barely survive. So in 2008, when the economy collapsed, so many people lost their jobs and eventually lost their homes, their apartments. They lost everything. So they did a Google search. How do I live in my car? Because they were forced in their car. And I was there. My website was there. It was in place. And I heard from my website exploded in traffic. I heard from thousands of people. Email on the blog, on the forum, although I hadn't actually started those yet. But I heard from them. And they all said, Bob, what am I going to do? I'm going to be forced to live in a car. And so I helped every one of them, every single one of them, in every way I could. And I posted all the more posts, and I started, out of that was the desire to create a boot camp. I mean, and literally a boot camp. Just like if you're going to be forced into your car, how much better to go and meet a group of people who are also living in their cars and minivans and vans, and have them help you and support you and show you, okay, let's fold your seat down and lay it out like this, and we'll put a board on it. I'll help you cut the board. I'll buy the board for you and cut the board. And that way you can have a flat level bed, or you need this to get water, or this is how you're going to have to go to the bathroom while you're living in your car. Whatever it is, all those questions which they had no answers for. So the RTR is a boot camp for beginner nomads, people forced into their cars, minivans, vans, people forced into tents. We've always had a number of people at the RTR in tents. So that's what the RTR is. It is a support system for people who need help now. I've lost my apartment. I'm being evicted. What do I do? You write me and I tell you what to do. So that's why I, who am truly, I'm not lying to you, I am an introvert. I'd rather be alone than with almost anybody except my dog. The best people I know is my dog. And but I sacrifice myself for that time for those people who are in need, because for whatever reason, I honestly do care. And so the YouTube channel is a reflection of that. Most of the videos I've been shooting have been women who are, and mostly women, because, why women? Because it's women who are hitting Social Security and have no money. And they're the ones who are being forced into cars more than men. So 65 years ago, when a woman was born, she was told, you will not get a job. There were no jobs available. There was a glass ceiling. There were no jobs. They were not considered capable of getting a job and sustaining a job. We hated women so much in the 40s and 50s. That's how much this country hated women and still continues to hate women. And so they're considered so incapable. And so they stayed home and raised their kids. And there was hubby probably, because that's what they're told to. Get married, support a man, be kind, and take care of him, and that's all you have to do, you and kids. The man disappears, he gets a younger wife, he dies, and she is suddenly 65 and living on $800 a month. She cannot possibly do in this country. So she moves into her car and she writes me. And I say, come here and we will support you. And so that's why you see more women in my videos than men. Not that I prefer women, although, let's be honest, I kind of do prefer women. But they are the ones in need. And I believe if any man watches a woman doing it, he can say to himself, if that woman can do it, I can do it, because I'm so much better than any woman. And whether we will admit it or not, there are a lot of men that still think that way. So there are a lot of women in my videos, and so this RTR is a support system for them. And I go to it and endure the crowds and endure the noise and endure the problems, because those women are going to go without unless they know how. And I know how, and I want to tell them how. So that's why the RTR, that's why a real introvert is there inviting 600, 700, 800 people into his camp, and why when some of them are noisy jerks, I got to get away from them. But I go back. I went back the next day and I worked it out. I got them to be quiet so I could tolerate being in my own camp, because there are people there that need me. And I've heard from dozens and dozens of women in the last 2 weeks who came to me and said, Bob, I don't know what I would have done without you. I'm in my car. I've had them show me the car. I've had them, I've videotaped them. You're going to see more women in cars who are living on a few $100, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a month, because that's the reality of our country. And someone needs to care, and not just throw money at them, but hold their hands and walk them through it and care. And that's what we do at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. So I think I'm going to stop there. It's a long video. It's already longer than I really want to be. But that is why I, an extreme extrovert, am at the RTR, and why you are welcome in my camp, and why I can ask you not to be a jerk in my camp and make my life miserable, because I'm busy doing what I think is my calling in life. And if you don't like my calling, if you want all those women, they're getting what they deserve. They were all lazy. If that's what your heart's attitude, don't come to my camp. Don't come to my RTR. Fortunately, I almost never hear that, but I get emails from some of you people, some of you haters out there who love to hate and cause dissension. And you email me and tell me those things. Well, if they won't work, they shouldn't eat. This is all her own problem. Let her do without. Well, I'm not going to say the F word, but the F word is what I have to say to you, my friend. If you don't have any basic human compassion, then you know what. Okay, I'm going to stop. I could really go off here. A genuine heart of love is what the RTR is all about. And I see it in every person there. I see it in their tears of joy. I see it in the huge outreach of loving and caring. I can't help 600 people in one time, but I see it every day and all over camp. A person reaching out and helping. I can help you with that every day at the. I haven't stopped yet, have I? I told you I wouldn't stop. I'm a talker. I'm a blitherer. Every morning we do a thing where I announce who needs help with this, and inevitably a woman or guys have become pretty helpless with vehicles too. I need help with this. Who can help her? Another guy raises his hand, and I say, can you two get together and meet afterwards and take care of that problem? And hundreds of problems have been put together and solved here, and it happens all over. Some of the very best people on the planet, and some of them like noise more than I do, and they just have to learn to live with it, because if I don't come, there won't be an RTR. I don't know how you can not think that's true. If I don't come, there won't be an RTR ever again. And so that's what it's all about. That's why I do it. That's why I sometimes struggle with it, because it's extremely difficult. It's exhausting. I'm getting older, and every year I get older, it becomes more and more exhausting. Okay, this is 11 minutes long. I got to stop. So there you have it. Now you write in and tell me what a liar I am and what a cheat I am, what a fool I am. I'm just doing all this because I'm getting rich doing it. Didn't charge a penny from a single human being. Spent more money than I will ever make on the RTR. But yes, I'm only in it for the money because I'm a monster. Thank you for informing me and the whole world what a monster I am. Okay, I'll stop because I'll go on, and I better not do that. And I can touch this without spreading it too much. Okay, come to the next RTR and be the one who helps someone else and reaches your hand out and picks them up. And if you need a handout, come and get one, because there's someone there that will help you. All right, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're on my channel, and I'm glad I can serve you in some way, because I honestly want to. Okay, I'll stop.